Perfect. All right, awesome. All right, ready? We'll start it in 3, 2, 1.
And welcome back, folks. So we'll take it from here with Joe and Don. My name is Joe.
And I'm Don.
And you listen to a show in which we talk about life with the goal to make you think and entertain you. We talk about a lot of things, plethora of topics. We'll talk about positivity, jiu-jitsu, mindset, anything. We'll talk about politics, the current climate. We don't stray away from that. But most importantly, our favorite segment of the show is the one we have today with our guest, Don. But before we introduce our guest, Don, you know what to do.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week of We'll Take It From Here. Just little announcements for you. Every episode is live on YouTube, so that's really cool. You can watch this show on YouTube, kind of as an element to the show. Do us a favor and like, comment, subscribe, wherever you're listening, Spotify, Apple. Just do us a favor and rate us, only if it's 5 stars. That helps grow the show, so that's really, really cool. You can follow us on Instagram at We'll Take It From Here Podcast. I'm at Don Shoemaker Jr. Joe is at Joe Francesco 48. And what else, Joe?
Nothing else. We got the shirts.
Yeah.
If you want to say the shirts.
We got some shirts for sale. If you guys want to buy some shirts, support the show, that would be awesome. So contact Joe for that.
Definitely.
And we excited to keep bringing in some shows. We got a new segment out now, Jit Zone, so that's really, really cool. We dive deeper into jiu-jitsu, so that's really exciting. And we're just happy to keep bringing shows every week. So thanks for everybody for listening.
Oh yeah, awesome. Without further ado.
Yeah, without further ado, we'd like to welcome Zachy. How do I say your last name?
Christodoulou, if you are so brave.
Okay. We'll stick with Zachy. Zachy's the owner of Yoga Odyssey down here in Somerville, New Jersey. So
where we're at.
Yeah, we're actually here,
in the studio. It's very neat.
And thank you to my mom. She's here, just dropped me off some coffee, so that's awesome. We're gonna do some yoga after the show, and Zachy is a.
Okay, take your class.
Zachy, yeah. We're here in the lobby, so you might hear some background noise and stuff like that. But Zachy is. From the short time I've known her, just through my mom and just different things I've heard, is, you seem like very like a lover of life and high energy and just very about fitness and positivity. And that's what I really love about you, just knowing you for 5 minutes here. So that's really, really cool. So we're happy to have you on the show and just kind of hear about your story and stuff like that. So welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for driving all the way out here to Somerville, New Jersey.
Yeah.
I know it was a little bit of a hike more for one than the other. My name is Zachy Christodoulou. I opened up this studio literally in the middle of COVID.
I love that.
2021. Not sure if it was to save myself, save the community, or just to get me back around my comfort zone, which is people. I'm a people person.
I love it.
It was a rough beginning, of course, but it was a time after being stuck indoors and isolated for nearly a year at that point, to be a community again.
Yeah.
So I took the risk, and we started classes, masked, 5 to a class, and made it work.
Awesome, love that.
How long have you been into yoga? Has this been like a lifelong thing, or is this kind of a new thing for you?
It's fairly new. As Mom will let you know, I am a lifelong athlete. Never really believed in yoga until, of course, as most people, the story. I had a knee injury that really led me to close to immobility. One of my friends that I had met a couple years earlier was a yoga teacher and insisted that I get into the yoga studio and do something. So with a cast on my leg, literally a full cast on my leg, chipped tibia, ripped ACL, MCL, LCL, the whole thing.
You shattered your entire knee.
It was one and done, for
God.
sure. I don't mess around. I am all in or all out.
Was that from athletics?
It was from a very intense volleyball game.
No.
Saved the ball from going out, got us the championship.
You won the game.
For sure. However, I was not able to compete in the championship match, so it didn't really matter.
Literally put your body on the line.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God.
what I do.
Yeah.
Still to this day. So I went into the yoga studio, kind of with a nonchalant attitude, not believing in it. Fell in love with it. I fell in love with the mindset, with the kindness and the openness of people, but most importantly for me, the way I was at the time, the power of the practice. Yeah.
But what do you mean by the power of the practice? Like, is it because yoga, for me, not everyone always looks at it and it's like, okay, it's a great physical, right? You're really stretching your body, but I feel like there's a really big spiritual and I guess you could say mental part to it that it
For sure.
calms you. So is that what you're referring to?
Well, for me at the time, it was the connection of the body and the mind at the time, because for somebody like me who was a full-fledged competitive athlete all of her life, when you can't compete, man, you fall into a slump. It's
For
depression.
Sure. Yeah.
All I knew was movement and competition. So at that time for me, it was more healing for my mind, because there was not much more I could do with my body. I was pretty immobile. But it was enough with my body to let me know that there is strength in the practice. Hi, Pranav. So it was my life-changing.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's just so cool. I think, like you said, everybody has the story, right?
Yeah.
If that never happened to you, you never probably would have gone down this route.
Most definitely not.
Yeah. And you would have, not been able to inspire change in other people, just all these different domino effects from that one event.
Totally.
I think is really, really
Totally.
cool.
Yep. You know the story. Things happen for a reason.
For sure.
Things happen for a reason.
So you said it wasn't that how many years you been doing yoga? Not only you said it was January 1st, 2020. But
That's when I
before
opened
that,
the studio.
when you opened the studio.
Yeah.
So when were you practicing?
I had my accident in 2013.
Okay.
Right after 6 weeks after surgery, I got into a yoga studio. So still 2013, got myself certified as a teacher with a cast on my leg.
Awesome.
Practiced ever since. It became a part of what I did in an everyday life practice. I was always a personal trainer,
Okay.
so I included that in the way I coached my clients. And then finally, once I raised my kids and I was able to focus on the space of my own, I opened up this space.
That's great. Well, congratulations. This place is incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I love the environment and just the different this ambiance of the place is really, really nice. The wood floors and everything.
Yeah, it's very open. I feel like this is it's like a welcoming environment.
For sure.
Yeah,
Not your typical yoga studio at all.
I have not been in many other yoga studios. Are they smaller? Like
Most of them are small. Most of them are a practice room and maybe a little counter to check people in. Not much space for chit chat and hanging out. But we're a community. We're more than yoga. We're a family.
So you definitely had this plan then, right? When you
Absolutely.
when you were sketching out how you wanted it to be about an
Yes.
actual place.
Indeed.
So
As a matter of fact, I'm not done with it. We just refaced it now
Oh, wow.
to make it more of our own personal touch. But in this corner that we're sitting in now, I'm actually thinking about it, Katie, I don't know if I told you yet, making it some sort of a game room, kind
cool.
of board games, a couch, we've got our coffee, maybe having some snacks, and in the summertime we're hanging out here, sometimes we hang outside and catch some rays out
Nice.
by the front on Main Street, and
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
we
Wait, so you guys actually do yoga out here while people are practicing?
We actually do
Oh,
yoga
that's
on
cool.
Division Street, which is our community public street, walking
Okay.
street, not too
Oh,
far
wow.
from here, or in front of the courthouse down here. So that's where we have our community events. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
pretty cool.
We try to do a couple a year once the weather gets nice.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Being outside definitely probably changes the element, right?
It does.
Because you have
It
the
does.
sunshine.
And that's why I make those community events. Everybody's welcome.
Oh, so okay. So it's
Those
not-
are everybody's welcome. Not
That's
sure.
cool.
Hi, Melissa. Melissa teaching class tonight.
I think one thing I really, really love about what you're building here is the community aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's not just come to class to get flexible
No,
and work on
it's
your
not.
mind.
Yeah.
It's so much more than that. I think that's probably the most important thing to building relationships with people,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Definitely, like we could definitely relate to that with jiu-jitsu. Like
Definitely.
our gym,
Similar.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Similar.
Yeah.
I also do Taekwondo.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
second degree black belt.
Oh, that's
Alright.
cool. Okay.
So same kind of element. The truth
Yeah.
is, it's a pretty personal practice. So
Yeah,
you
okay.
want to get to know your community a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
As a matter of fact, when I first opened back in 2021, I love the way that rhymes. I opened up under a franchise name that just didn't work out because it's so personal. You can't really franchise a yoga studio like this.
Got it.
My community is just
Makes
different
sense.
than the other communities that we're supposed to be feeding into this space, and
Yeah.
I opted out.
You know what? You opted out, but I feel like that was better. I feel like this is more camaraderie here.
Like
I
you
feel
said,
like
Yes.
it's all meant to be.
Yes.
I mean, and like I said, I've only been in this place for what, about an hour, but I can
You
already
feel
see
it,
everyone.
you feel it,
Everyone's
yeah.
walking in, you know everyone,
Yep.
you make it a point to know
Yep.
your students or your younger
Yep.
friends at this
That's it.
point. Everyone's already come together and already, it's
That's
pretty
it.
cool. Yeah. No, that's the most important thing. Because,
Absolutely.
you know, you can go, like, because we say it in Jiu-Jitsu, there's never going to be an episode where we don't talk about Jiu-Jitsu. But it's the same thing as probably yoga. You want to go somewhere, right? Each studio, right? Each gym they're teaching the same thing, right?
Right.
You're teaching yoga, others teaching Jiu-Jitsu.
Right.
However, when you go in there, you cannot relate, right? You cannot be a friend of someone, or people aren't, what's the word I'm looking for? Welcoming, right? They're not warm.
Right.
You don't want to stay there, right?
Correct.
If there's too many egos. So it looks like you've got
Yeah.
a nice big
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, it's a nice free, we call it safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Very non-judgmental. You come in, you do what you can. Some days are good, some days are not so good.
Yeah.
Nobody judges you. We just encourage each other.
That's gonna be good for later because I'm not flexible at all.
Nice.
Don't
This is
worry.
gonna be-
Don't worry.
I think I don't know if I can touch my I don't know if I can touch my
Hi, how are you?
You, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Those meters,
Yeah.
I stick it in and it gives me like an hour 9 max. I thought every time I would hit the plus,
I
I'd
love
get an
the,
extra hour.
That is because after 7 o'clock, you no longer need to pay. So it's probably giving you up until 7 o'clock.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're very
I
welcome.
appreciate it. It explains everything.
Enjoy, be
All
good.
right, thank you.
Hi, Peter. How are you?
Good morning.
Say hi to our cameraman. You're on camera.
Hello.
Oh, I'm calling.
Nationwide podcast. You're famous now.
Oh, yes.
All right, perfect.
Awesome.
Peter's actually from Poland, so
Oh,
not too far from where we were speaking about before.
Yeah, actually, that's a little cool thing. I mean, not to get off the topic of yoga, but also I think that's really cool. You have dual citizenship, so you're
Yeah.
born in America. Get into that a little bit. You say you're from Cyprus?
Yes, I am a refugee immigrant from Cyprus. Back in 1974, my country was invaded by the Turks, forced
Okay.
us to immigrate. We chose to come here. I was born in America, so I had my citizenship. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, where my dad was doing his
Oh, wow.
medical residency, but then moved back home to Cyprus until we were invaded, and we came back to seek a better lifestyle here in this country. Grew up in Hackettstown, where you are.
that's where I'm from.
My dad was president of Hackettstown Hospital. Opened
no
up some
way.
restaurants. It's the typical Greek story.
Yeah. I love that.
Made some money, opened up a diner, brought a couple siblings from overseas, opened up another diner,
How
and
it
before
goes.
you knew it, the country was invaded by Greek diners,
Yeah.
which we all kind of rely on
Yeah.
For sure. I think it's
24/7.
For sure, I think it's a Mediterranean thing because my family is Italian. My grandparents came from the south of Italy,
Yeah.
which shares, I would say, culture with
Absolutely.
And my grandpa came here and opened up a pizzeria.
We
So it's like the same
Italians
thing.
and we Greeks and you Italians, man, there's nothing more important to us than hospitality. We
Absolutely.
love our people, and everybody that crosses my path will feel comfortable and welcome.
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Unless they piss me off, and then
Right.
and then the story
Yeah.
changes, and I'm sure for the
Sure.
Italians as well.
Sure.
Yeah. Atlas, come here, buddy. That's just a little guy. Come here.
We got a Atlas.
Atlas,
Star of the.
Oh, Atlas is a superstar. No, he's not. He's little compared to my other guy. Atlas is
Oh,
a
wow.
wine runner. He came from the Czech Republic.
Oh wow.
That's why his name is
Wait,
Atlas.
so he's small compared to the other
My
dog?
other, yeah, Atlas is 100 pounds. Nico, my Bernese Mountain Dog, is 165 pounds. So I have a little, my gauge on sizes of dogs is a little off.
Little off.
For me, he's huge. I mean, I've never had a pet or a dog at all, but I know that from friends. Like, they are dogs, I guess you would say, probably 70 pounds.
70 is an
50
average.
pounds.
Is an
Wow.
Actually, they consider a 70-pound dog a large
A large dog?
50
Okay.
is about medium. Yeah, and everything smaller than that. Wow.
Yeah, it's not even a real animal.
It's questionable.
Yeah, exactly. He's getting a lot of love in here. Everyone who
Yeah,
comes in,
everybody knows him. Everybody loves him.
How for somebody maybe just starting into yoga, how often do you recommend going? Is it like an everyday practice, 3 times a week?
If you want to see a difference, give yourself the chance by coming 3 times a week.
3 times, kind of a magic number.
2 at the very least.
Okay.
3 you will see difference. For example, Oz, for example, took like 2 weeks off to go traveling. He came back and he was like My back hurts. My arm. I said,
Oh,
well,
no.
Oz, you shouldn't have left.
Oh, man.
Right? So now Oz is back.
All right.
I love it.
Yeah.
Where's that from? Are you from America, man?
I am. I was born here, but my family's from Paraguay.
Ah,
Nice.
nice. Paraguay.
Yeah, but why?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Like we hear where they're from and like,
And then you gotta always, I have this thing where I'm that guy who, since I speak Italian, if I hear an Italian word, I gotta say it in Italian. and everyone makes fun of me all the freaking
For
time.
sure.
Yeah.
At least you're saying the accent. Usually I'll just say it in Greek.
Right. Okay, yeah. I think you were speaking Greek before when you were on the phone.
I probably was. I was probably talking to my husband in Greek.
Yeah.
And to my girls too. My kids, I also speak Greek, and sometimes to my dogs.
Awesome.
Yeah.
See, I
That is
wish my
first
parents, I wish my grandparents taught my parents. So my grandpa and my dad's side did teach my dad how to speak Italian, but my grandparents, my mom's side didn't. And
Yeah.
so they understand, but they can't speak it, so no one then taught it to me.
So you're second generation. You're third generation.
I'm second generation.
Second,
American.
okay. I don't forget. For me, I was a refugee immigrant, so I came here only speaking Greek.
Yeah.
And when we came to this country, my dad forced us to speak English just enough
For sure.
to learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But once we started school, we went back to only speaking Greek.
Okay, yeah.
So we're totally
I love
bilingual.
that.
I will even go as far as saying that even though I spent the last, 45 years of my life here, I still think a little bit of Greek.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
That's really hard too.
It's
Because
hard.
that's really
Yeah.
hard. That actually takes full immersion.
Yeah.
So when I was in Italy for about a couple of months studying abroad, and that's when I started learning Italian, I had 1 or 2 nights where I was dreaming in Italian. I woke up like,
That
wow,
is
trippy.
so-
But it's never happened
Yeah.
again. So for you to still speak it means it's
But if you go
forces
back,
you to think it.
if you go back, guaranteed you'll revert to that.
Oh no, for sure.
I just came back from Greece. I was there in October.
Oh, nice.
Actually, I was there doing the Iron Man in
Oh, wow.
Greece, in Rio Greece. That was quite a fantastic experience.
Like the 100, like the marathon, the Iron Man.
Like the
Not
yeah,
like
the triathlon.
The triathlon.
Glad to help.
Yep.
Yep, went from swim to cycle to run.
So we gotta talk about that a little bit.
It was
That is-
intense.
That is intense.
Yeah.
What was the training like? How long did you prepare?
Oh, you partook.
I did.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
tried to participate in one a year. COVID left me missing 2 years. But prior to that, I try to do one a year because, as I said to your mom before, my brain is wired to as long as my legs move, I will use them. So I
love
I keep moving until, God forbid, one day I can't, and then
That's how you stay
I'll
young.
find a different way to function. But for right now, as long as I can, I will, and I do. Not all of my performances are up to par, but I always give it a good go.
Yeah,
I like that
honestly,
mentality.
I would think. I mean, obviously for you, you're always going to self-critique about your performances. The fact that you just went in a triathlon, especially the Iron Man, is incredible. I think 99% of the population would probably be like, "That was enough," you know.
Totally a cool event.
What's your favorite part of it? Which one?
Cycling.
Cycling. Okay.
Hands down. Swimming for me would be my favorite if it were not first. You're kind of going into cold water
Oh, got
before
it.
the sun even rises. It takes you a little while to warm up.
Okay.
Cool.
Then you hop on the bike, man.
Yeah.
The bike is the best. I can kill any mountain on a bike.
Yep.
So what are the distances in an Ironman? Do you know? off the top
This
of your head?
particular one I did a half, which was a complete 70 point something, 70.5, 70.6 miles, which is like a mile and a half of swimming,
That's a lot.
57-mile bike ride, and a half marathon
Okay.
at the end. So,
Yeah.
What are
cool
your
stuff.
legs like after the bike?
Jello.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Jello. But let me tell you, recovery, especially this last one in Greece, was quite fun, if I'm remembering it properly. just say, you know, you come back from your run and you hop into the ocean,
That's
and
Yeah.
you know you're having a nice ice cold beer refresher while you're soaking up the sun in Greece.
It's amazing.
Makes it all worthwhile.
So
Hi guys, hi Mona, hi, how are you? Good.
How you doing?
why don't you take us
Monty
in-
Christie.
Let me take us into your mentality a little bit when you're in the middle of your run. You're like, oh my god, I'm tired. I don't feel like doing this anymore. Did you ever have those thoughts?
Until yoga came into my life.
Wow, really?
Makes a huge difference. The truth is, the mind is powerful.
So true.
If you can overcome what your mind is telling you,
I love that.
you
Yeah.
can conquer just about anything. You can convince yourself that, wow, this is fun. Wow,
So
the
cool.
scenery is amazing. You can't listen to music in Iron Man. There's
there's rules.
it's yeah, no AirPods, nothing. So
You and the
it's
pavement.
so it could be one of two things: either lonely or you find company.
Mhm.
I mean, you're competing with, in this case, nearly 3,000 people from all over the freaking world.
Oh my gosh.
There's no lonely. You always find somebody. For example, about 10 miles into my bike ride, I got a flat tire. I had a pumped it up, got back on my bike, slowed me down significantly, but I got back on my bike. 5 miles later, same thing. Realized I got a hole in my tire. Somebody from Kenya just handed me a tube and a pump, just like threw it at me. He said, "Here's my bib number. Put it back in my, we have transition stations. When you're done, just put it in my transition." It was my responsibility as a human being to get it back to him.
Yeah.
I knew his bib number, I knew where his transition area was, I changed my tube and I pumped up my bike. And
That's incredible.
Right? And 45 miles of bike riding later, before I put my running shoes on in my transition station, I went and I found his transition, I put his stuff back, wrote him a little note, and carried on to my bike ride. So it's
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So you know, one person wins it. You know, the truth is, just to participate and to finish it is
That's a huge-
a million
huge
stories in
compliment.
itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So-
As far as like, it's just really inspiring that you said yoga helped you with your mentality
Yeah.
through that, because I know like for me, farthest I've ever ran at one time was like 6 miles. Right? Like, I'm not a big runner.
And what made you stop?
My mind.
Where you running? Because if you could run 6,
100%.
you could run 7, and you know what? The truth is, you could run a half marathon,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And it's all your mind
It's
messing with
all
you.
in you. It's all.
So I just think I geek out over all the power of the mind and just like what
There's
how you
so
can
much.
grow it.
Yeah, there's so much power behind it. You just have to be open-minded enough to listen to it.
Absolutely. There's a lot, and there's a lot of like studies behind it too. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza,
Yeah.
but that's like the whole
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
about manifestation, but that's also the same thing about the mind. Like,
Manifestation is a
Yeah.
big part of it.
absolutely, yeah, for sure. So, but what is it about yoga that allowed you now to have a different mindset? Is it the ability to get over these very hard positions, or do things with your body that you've never done before, that like put in your body in position, or is it more just the relaxation?
Definitely not the relaxation.
Okay.
I'm not. By nature, relaxation to me is exhausting. If that makes any sense.
Makes perfect sense.
If that makes any
Makes
sense at
perfect
all,
sense,
right?
yeah.
You understand. So I found that my biggest challenge in yoga is holding, not necessarily difficult poses, but holding even basic poses for a long time.
How long is a long time?
And we usually go by breath work, so 5, 6, 7 breaths.
Long time.
You're standing on one leg with your body in an L position. It's super muscularly engaging,
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
and you can, as long as you don't let your body overwhelm your mind.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean,
No, absolutely.
right? Because you're there, so clearly you can.
Absolutely.
Right? You just have to convince your mind that, you know what, let me focus. If you focus on your breath work and distract yourself from what you're actually doing, but focus on the breath work, and put yourself in the present moment of what you're doing versus sometimes your mind wanders. You're waiting, 4 breaths later, 5 breaths later, you're like, all right, well, what am I going to make for dinner? No, if you think that, you're going to fall out of your pose.
Got it.
So if you just focus on your breath work and engage what you're supposed to be engaging, and the teachers cue you what muscles you do, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant art, a brilliant exercise. And honestly, 15 years ago, I would never ever even imagine myself preaching yoga as a regular practice to any athlete or any like-minded person
Yeah.
in general. But it's good stuff.
It sounds a lot like meditation, though. The breath
I was
work,
gonna say
staying in
that.
the present moment.
There's absolutely,
Yeah.
for sure. Meditation, a lot of people think is you're sitting Indian style and oming and kind of. It's one way to meditate. I meditate better through movement.
Okay,
And
yeah,
there,
yeah.
there is such thing to that.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. No, for definitely the breath work, I definitely relate to that now because I'm starting to do more meditations
Yeah.
now, and it's it's so interesting to see that.
Hi, Nicole!
Hey, it's no, but like when you're just sitting there, like you said, like and you give the example that you're in a pose of getting ready for dinner. I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, okay, what do I need to do to get to X, Y, Z in my life? And I'm like, dude, just get back to it. Just present moment.
Right,
Just stay here.
focused on the now, because you can't get to the later until you get through the now.
Okay.
So you might
That's
as
a good
well,
one.
right?
That's giving you a good clip.
So you might as
Right.
well, right. So you might as well get through the now with an A+, so that you feel better about going into the later. Because I mean, you know how mood kind of carries over, your vibe kind of carries over. So if you're not really satisfied with your now, your later really could be shitty.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, close friends of mine, I say it all the time, it's all about the vibe.
It's all about the
It's
vibe.
really all it is.
That's it.
That's
And
it.
you set the vibe,
That's
and
right.
your vibe carries on to other people.
It definitely does.
Which is why I created this whole space
Yes.
here, because we come here, we set the positive vibe, and we hand it off to maybe somebody's not having a great day.
Yeah.
You better believe that once they walk out that door, they're a whole different human being. And not because we're magic, but for that hour, they focused on the now,
Yeah.
their present state.
I don't think I can love that mission anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of how I try to live my life too. It's like, I want the conversation that I have with you, just in public, to be the best conversation you had all day, and that's just always my
Yeah,
goal.
absolutely.
Which I think is a really, really cool way to
That
live.
makes for a pretty freaking good day, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
You can't really have a bad day.
No.
Even if it is a bad day, it's really not that bad.
Well, think about all the times that you'll go through something with, like, you start the day off with a positive mindset, right? Nothing's gonna bother you, and then something that bad happens, but you have the positive mindset. You go, oh, whatever. Now reverse it, and you go in with a negative mindset, and something bad happens. It's the end of the world.
Absolutely. It just goes downhill from there.
Absolutely, yeah. Have
And
you
we also
seen-
have to remember, put bad into perspective.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
I mean, my bad, thank God, I've been blessed with my bad being pretty damn good compared to other people. So
Same.
my job still, to this day, my bad is to uplift others whose bad might be a little worse than mine.
That's awesome.
Hey, it's all about perspective, right? I love that.
Yeah.
Why don't you dive into a little bit about the breath work? Because I hear people talk about all the time, how important your breath is. Do you breathe in through your nose, out the mouth? Is there like a certain method to do it?
There's different kinds of breath work.
Okay.
One is to breathe in your nose and out your nose when you're holding the pose. That's really what you're doing. When you're meditating, it's in your nose and out your mouth.
Okay.
We call that pranayama breath work. So you
Got
breathe
it.
in your nose, you hold it at the peak, and then you very, very slowly release it out of your mouth. You feel a
Okay.
little silly when you're first doing it,
Uh-huh.
but once again, you get into a room of like-minded people where nobody's judging you, and you figure it out. It's pretty helpful, and then you find yourself doing it out in your everyday lifestyle, and you don't give a shit about what people
It's
are
a cool
saying.
thing.
Because, the truth is, if somebody's looking at you funny, say, "Hey, dude, man, try it. It helps."
Yeah.
And they might look at you funny, but they'll probably try it.
Well, I think a big thing in that too is your I think I heard you mention this to my mom before, like your ego just goes out the door.
Yeah, there's
No
no space
ego.
for ego, and there's no space for ego.
No.
Here's what I've learned in my, and I'm gonna call it a short lifespan of yoga because I'm not by all means an expert. The truth is, we always call yoga a yoga practice. There's never a yoga perfect. There's never a yoga expert, because as much as you practice, there's always a next level. So if you're doing a handstand and you're acing it, you're holding it for a good, solid minute, next time you're gonna press up, you're not gonna kick up. And there's
always another
there's
level.
always another level. There's never a finished yoga. There's never like, I'm done,
Sure.
right? There's always something bigger and better. And even more importantly, you have to go into yoga knowing that what you did yesterday might not happen tonight. Your mindset is different every day, depending on your mood, your vibe, what you've eaten for the day, how much sleep you got the night before, how much water you drank, what your kids said to you on the way in the door, or what your colleague was doing. It changes every day. So you have to go in expecting that every day literally is different, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay, because the yoga is in the room, being there in the present moment. So
I think that's really what life is about,
that's what life is about.
right? If we're trying our best every single day, it's a sliding scale.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I think that's incredible. Yeah, for sure.
I'm really pumped to start doing this breath work.
I am
don't think
too.
it's stupid
I
at all
really am.
because I've been like with the meditation of breath work, so I can't wait to apply that here.
You know, you're not far. You're a little far.
A little far.
But not too far.
Yeah, it's doable.
Twice a week, you guys should come. Honestly, give yourselves a chance. You guys should come and make it a part of your practice, and you'll see how your life in your you practice jiu-jitsu regularly, right?
Yep.
Even in that, it'll change.
Oh, absolutely. Because when you were saying this whole thing about how one day is different from the other,
Yeah.
I was literally thinking about jiu-jitsu. One day you go in, you have a great day. The next day you go in, you get destroyed by the same person.
Yeah.
It's literally the same thing.
It's the same.
Yeah, it's the same
Now,
thing.
before I got into yoga, I was a competitive athlete. I
Uh-huh.
played high school sports, as your mom will tell you. I played college sports. I was coaching my kids. I played. I've been doing the Iron Man. I'm a nutritionist. I've done the personal training, freelancing,
Yep.
do college teams, and it was always about pounding the pavement.
Got
Like this is new. How many miles can you run? How much can you lift? How strong can you be? How much time can you run without stopping? Who could you slide tackle without hurt? It was really, as a female athlete, it was about how aggressive can you be.
Mhm.
It wasn't until pretty recently where women's sports became skillful sports. I would even go as far as saying, that's right, public, more skillful than men, because we can't really rely on our strength.
Right.
The truth is, can't deny it, we're just not as strong, we're built differently. So we can't rely on being as physical, but we can be as skillful.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's like the you guys have what we don't, we have what you don't. That's
Yeah.
like a contrast, but it's good. And I do see that in jiu-jitsu because the women who are really, really good, they're really technical. And
They're really technical.
They're very technical.
Yeah.
And yeah, some of them may be stronger than the other women, but they're not strong when it comes to like the strongest guy in the room.
Right, right.
But they'll have a technique that you'll be like, damn,
Absolutely.
what the hell? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you see do you see any of the competitive nature in your yoga practice? As far as are you competing
There's
with
that.
your,
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
definitely
there's
yes, there.
do you want to be like, oh wow, I can touch my toes more, I don't know, like I'm more flexible than you, or I don't know.
I am not a typical yogi because of my background. I am a competitor by nature. So my story going into yoga was competition, as opposed to some other stories of people getting into yoga, which is self-healing, mindfulness. For me, it was an injury that made me not be competitive anymore. So I was being, and still sometimes cheat on myself a little bit,
Okay.
and find myself doing things I'm just not ready to do.
Okay.
And landing with a thumb, but that's okay.
But that's
There's no-
fine. There's anything
Right?
wrong with that because you're learning. You're
Because-
improving.
Yes, but I'll try to skip a phase
I see.
because I'm tired.
You gotta push your boundaries, right?
And that's just the way I'm wired. I would not
Same.
recommend that to most people. I don't preach my kids to do that because sometimes building the good technique starts from the bottom up, just like entry-level jobs. Everybody's like, oh, I'm so much smarter than this, I should be higher up. Well, you know what? This is your entry level. Learn the trade before you become your expert.
Yeah, build a foundation.
Build the foundation, and that's exactly where it is. We build the foundation. That's actually spot on.
Okay.
Without grounding yourself to the floor, what's holding you up?
Yeah.
Gravity's going to work against you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think kind of my mindset with something like a yoga practice is you're kind of in competition with yourself. It's motivating to me because you're like, how good can I possibly get?
Yeah.
Because you know what potential you probably have. Just you're never going to reach your potential, but it's just very exciting to.
But you can set goals
Right.
and make little potentials
Exactly.
to reach.
Which I think
that's how I do it. Rather than set stars to be my goal, which
Right.
ultimately I will get there.
Sure.
You got to kind of cross the horizon before
Yeah.
you get up to the next galaxy, right? So you just have to make your goals attainable.
Definitely.
Otherwise,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. for
yeah.
sure.
Otherwise, it's self-defeat.
Yeah. I talk about that sometimes with like visualization. I love visualizing things.
Yeah, helps. It works.
It helps. So it works.
Yeah.
So oh my gosh, so many stories with that. But I think it's so important, like you said, to focus on the present. Be excited about a future thing, but also like stay here.
Yeah.
So I just think
Yeah.
that's really, really cool.
For sure, because like if you're visualizing, but then you're so worried about the future, you may miss the present moment that will get you to what you just
Yeah,
visualized.
that's anxiety.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
anxiety.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about your to-do list for the rest of the week,
Sure.
you miss the journey to get there.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we are called Yoga Odyssey because it's about the journey.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's my story. That's why I made the logo what it is. The circle around is my orbit. That's my journey
Oh, I love that.
to to home. The
Let's,
why is the home.
That's awesome.
Yeah, why don't we hop into the story of how you call it Yoga Odyssey a little bit more.
Okay.
I just love that story.
Okay. I love my Yoga Odyssey. Clearly, I'm Greek, and I'm proud of my culture, and I love my stories. And although I was very young when we immigrated here, I really have learned and grown and got most of my ethics, work ethics, moral ethics, family ethics from the stories of my father who lifted his family up and immigrated here. So I see my dad's story and my husband's father actually also. I see the stories as journeys that are very similar to the story of the Odyssey. If you haven't read it, I really, really encourage you to do so. It's a story of adventures, some happy, some glorious, some sad, some deadly. But with all those journeys, with going around all the orbits, and you'll see the different colors, which really are pointing out the hot versus the cold, the good versus the bad, the temperature range, the yin and the yang. Really is their journey around the world. Now, I very cleverly made it also the O to signify
Oh,
the
yes,
O
it's a
in
Y
the
and an O.
Odyssey, right?
Yeah.
It's a Y and an O, Yoga Odyssey, thank you.
Yeah.
Now, the person that you see, which is the Y,
Right.
we have the two arms up. You notice that there are two colors, which is really my symbolism of acceptance of all people. Race, ethnicity, color, whatever you choose to be, you're welcome. So the arms are up, also indicating the Y for the yoga, but the arms are up, kind of hovering you and making it your safe place.
Love that.
And the O, which is the head of the human, is in the crevice. You've landed home.
Yeah.
So the
Wow.
journey is the O, the orbit, in its multicolors, signifying the different hots, colds, goods, bads, deaths, births, all of the above.
That's cool.
That's the journey that lands you back home, where you're surrounded by like-minded people in the crevice of the.
There is so much. That is such a simple simple logo, but at the same time has
It's deep.
It's deep.
such a
It's
deep
deep.
meaning.
It's the story.
Wow.
It's the story. Now you also notice the first step of every journey begins with it.
It's amazing.
It was well thought out, but it's also my authentic heart. This is the way I was brought up. This is the way I was raised. I saw hard work. I saw good times. I saw bad times. I saw wealth. I saw poor, and I kind of just hugged it all in and kind of made it into the story of life.
So cool.
The
Life's
story of life.
just awesome. That's really what it is.
Yeah,
It's
that's
awesome, but it wasn't easy. It's not easy. It's not intended to be easy.
No.
An easy life is a boring life.
It is.
You need some, right? And how do we learn? We really learn from your mistakes,
great. Absolutely.
right?
And you gotta take a chance to make a
And
mistake.
you gotta take that risk. Opening the studio in 2021, in the middle of COVID. That was a risk, but I felt like it was a necessary risk
Yeah.
to serve the community, and selfishly a little bit of me.
There's nothing wrong with that. That last part, there's nothing wrong with that
Yeah.
because serving yourself, like you said, begins within,
Yeah.
allows you to serve others.
Yeah, absolutely.
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 That's awesome.
So, yeah.
What I also like about that too, because that's a beautiful logo. And when I was looking at it before, and then while you were explaining it, I was looking at it as like you said, those colors of the person, the Y, is like a blue and green. That's a very calm inside, a very calm state, like when you're in yoga, right? And then the bright colors around it, that's like the force field you build around yourself.
Yeah,
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Deliberately, my human is not a red or an orange.
Yeah,
or,
exactly.
Or,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
fiery
Love that.
yellow. Absolutely.
Awesome.
So I had a question. You're into this like the yoga space and all this thing. Do you do anything as far as like ice baths and saunas? I feel like you'd be the type of person that's into that.
I do ice baths.
Okay.
Post real workout, for example, post Iron Man.
Got it.
My ice bath this last Iron Man happened to be the sea.
Yeah, I mean that's
The saltwater sea. There's nothing better than
perfect.
that.
Perfect.
But coming out of a gym, or when I was a student athlete over at Drew University, coming out of a basketball game where we're ripping each other apart, soccer game, slide tackling. I found myself in ice baths
All right.
quite often. There is a new thing that we're pulling into the studio, and actually we're launching it on March 26th as a workshop before we make it a regular thing. Acupuncture and cupping.
Nice.
Oh my! I see
All right.
it all the time. I see the
All right.
cupping all the time.
I had never tried it because, once again, in my generation, although it's an ancient belief, people did cupping in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Even during the original Greek Olympics, they found a way to do it. But it was never something that I did. It was you fall, you breathe yourself, get up, and try again. There was no that. But we have gotten wiser. We are now educated in the realm of wise training and athleticism. We had a lady come in who is certified. She has her own practice.
All right.
She gave us a demo, and we've already popped it on the schedule for March 26th.
That's awesome.
So
So
we're,
is anybody welcome? Anybody can show up? Is there a fee?
There is a fee.
Okay.
We have to limit it to 10 people per session because it's
Got it.
yoga and acupuncture and cupping, so we want to make sure everybody gets what they paid for.
Makes sense.
But we'll add sessions as we see fit.
Perfect. All right. March
Yeah,
26th.
March 26th.
Awesome.
Yeah, so if you guys want to come and observe or participate, absolutely.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, thank you. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
These I like all these things because like acupuncture, cupping, yoga, ice bath, breath work. These are all things that if you like on the surface level, you're like, how could that really do anything, right? But it does so much, which is just so cool once you really dive into it.
I don't know if you noticed, I know that Mom pointed it out. We last week had a pianist come in, and
Oh, that's awesome.
instead of doing yoga to our regular stereo
Oh, right,
music, we had a professional musician come in, and
Love
he
that.
pulled the piano into the studio room, and he serenaded us with some great piano during an hour and
Yeah,
15
that's great.
minutes.
Classical piano, just.
It was classical. It was just chill music that he
So
just vibed from. You know.
Yeah.
That's
There's something with that too. I'm big into like the frequencies and listening to binaural beats and 432 hertz in particular
Okay.
and all that stuff. And there's just so much power in music as well. It's very healing and soothing. And I think just
But you know what? All
tied together.
all this stuff could be soothing and healing and mindful
Yes.
as long as you're open-minded to it.
True.
Yeah,
It
it's
really
true.
comes down.
It's true.
It really comes down to the mind.
It
I
does.
think it all stems from
Right,
there.
right.
Like every journey begins with that.
Yeah, there's so many people who I know would benefit from absolutely everything we're talking about
Yeah.
right now. They just would never do it. You know what I
Right,
mean?
because they're hard-headed.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
exactly. And maybe they just don't even know any better because
Yeah.
they're in a different part of their world.
Yeah.
And then maybe one day they'll open up their mind to it.
Yeah. Well, that's why every so often a passerby will be walking down Main Street. I love being on Main Street.
Yeah.
You see all kinds of people. Every once in a while, a passerby will be walking by, and I'll open up the door. I'm like, "Hey, what you doing? Come on in." And I'll invite them to an impromptu class. Just
Nice.
come in. Well, I don't want to pay. You don't have to pay. Just come. Just try it.
Yeah.
I'll have to, with confidence, say 99% of those come back for a membership.
I love
That's
that.
awesome.
And it's not because I'm seeking for members or I'm seeking
But-
for. I am, but that's not my goal. My goal
Yeah.
is
Exposure. Like
It's-
exposure to yoga.
it's serving the community
Yeah.
with something mindful.
Yeah.
for better lifestyles.
I think the reason they come back is because you're giving with zero expectation.
Yeah.
And you're in alignment with that.
Yeah.
And I think the universe
Yeah.
rewards you for that. For
Yeah,
sure.
it's like a
Thank
zero expectation is definitely key on that, because when you do something and you like sort of have a condition to it,
Totally.
it
Yeah.
doesn't get
Yeah.
It
No,
does.
no. I mean, and that's the mindset of the outside world. Like,
Sure.
what's in it for me? Or,
Yeah.
What do you want from me? It's like, nothing.
Just come in.
Just come play if you want. If you don't
Yeah.
want, I understand. But if you want to, we have a class going on. Run home real fast. Most of them are, either visiting town, in which case I'll get them a pair of sweatpants, which is what I'll do for you guys. Or they run to their apartments because it's a walking town, and they come back.
Perfect.
I think that's the really interesting thing is we've just got to such a place in society in the world that we're just like when somebody is really just genuinely nice to you, you're like, what's
Yeah.
going on here?
Yeah.
What's the catch? You know?
I
It's a
think-
shame.
I
Yeah.
think that maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's my new environment. But I think post-COVID, we've gotten a little bit kinder to each other.
I think there's so many cons to COVID, but I think there's so many pros as
I think
well.
there are more pros
From
than
what
cons.
happened,
Yeah.
Like people got a
after
little
that.
closer,
Yeah.
sort of started doing their own thing. Like they
Became
wanted
a
to
little
entrepreneurial.
less materialistic for
For
sure.
sure. Yes.
I know for me and my family, being stuck home with each other bought us 3 years of togetherness
Sure.
that we wouldn't have otherwise
Yeah.
had, which is
Yeah.
right. That's 3 birthdays times 5 people that we got to celebrate that we otherwise probably would not have been together because you got traveling, you got school, you got competitions, you got life, and more life all over the place. So,
Yeah. That's great.
once again, I am of the fortunate. We didn't struggle financially with that, so I'm not taking away from those who suffered. But there was a lot of good that came out of,
Absolutely. But also to point out why you didn't suffer, I would also say, in my opinion, is because you took a risk.
I took a risk.
You definitely took a
I
risk.
did.
Like you
Yeah.
created this.
For sure.
You created your success.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That is true. My husband wanted to kill me. He said, "You're doing what? When? Where? What? How? Why?" But for me, it was the right time. I set myself an 2021, and I didn't care what was happening that day. I was going to open.
I love that.
I think is that date very significant to you? I feel you keep repeating that.
It's the first of the 21st.
Got it.
Yeah,
It just sounded right.
Mhm.
It just felt right.
Yeah.
It just felt like fresh start to a lot of
Mhm.
ugly
Yeah.
things.
For sure.
Yeah, when you have a hunch, you gotta go with that hunch. And that,
Yeah.
You know.
And 01, 02 just didn't sound right.
No,
Right? It just
right,
right.
If you waited another year, it'd have to be 02,
Yeah,
23.
and it just
Yeah.
didn't. As a matter of fact, I almost had to wait another year because the space that I was supposed to be in is down the street.
Oh, okay.
And the landlord there just wasn't getting it together quickly enough for me. I said, no, take your time. I go somewhere else.
Yeah, geez. But talk about how everything happened for a reason. Like you said,
Yeah.
like, this is actually even better because you're
It's
right on
even
the
better.
corner.
And how did I find this place? Once again, we have a store down the two or three doors down from me called The Village.
Yes.
It's a bar restaurant. It's
Mhm.
a nice American, little bar restaurant. I told you guys to go check it out.
Yeah.
I was there with a friend. I had come out. Yeah, I was a little tipsy, whatever. Walking down the street, and I just happened to turn my head. I'm like, oh wow, this place is for lease.
Yeah.
I got on the phone with the one landlord who was telling me, tomorrow, and I got on the phone with this landlord, and I'm like, I want in. And I kind of canceled the one while I signed in at the other
Nice.
simultaneously, because you don't want 2 signatures on one, at the same
No.
time, because that's illegal breach of contract, the whole
Yeah.
thing. And somehow I'm like, you wait, can we do it? Yes, we can. All right,
Yeah.
I'm out. And
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
Beautiful.
and it just got done. And this is a much nicer space.
Oh,
It's home. It's home.
Yeah.
It's home.
It does.
I'm sure that was a really scary time, but I'm sure it was also like, did you kind of feel it in your heart?
You
You're
know-
like, you know what? I'm just gonna follow this hunch.
Bingo. It wasn't scary.
Mhm.
Even though everybody was like, it's not the right time,
Right.
you don't know the expenses, people are getting sick, people are dying. It felt right.
I love that.
It
Yeah.
just felt right.
Well, there's never a good time, right? You know, you hear people say that all the time. There's never a good time, though, right? Because think about it. Let's just say you said, okay, yeah, fine, it's not a good time.
It's always a risk.
I bet you there would have been something else that in your life, in your personal life, that you would have been like, it's not a good time.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, this thing, this studio, Yoga Odyssey never comes to me.
Yeah, exactly.
So you start to your
You just-
Yeah. That's awesome.
And that's the setting the goal and just stop making excuses.
Yeah,
Like, get it
Name of the
done.
game.
Get it
Well,
done.
Joe, you want to hop into some questions?
yeah, sure, why not?
We have some cool questions. Oh, I think Atlas is on my phone.
Atlas is definitely on my phone.
Hey, boy.
Atlas.
Just gotta get up my phone, wait, look.
This is a fun segment that we do. We have our followers online. They'll send in questions and answer them on the show.
I hope I
So-
can answer them for them.
Oh, no,
Okay.
definitely.
I don't want to let anybody down.
No.
But I'm very honest. If it's something I don't know or can't answer, I will be
Yeah,
very
that's
honest and
perfect.
say, no say.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to start off with the first one. It's going with Adrian Luna, who's actually our friend, and he owns Lobo MMA, Lobo MMA, right?
Yep.
Yeah, New Jersey, NJ, that's what it was, with his wife Colleen. What are your thoughts on hot yoga? I love it, but some say it's cheating.
Cheating in what sense? No. The heat in the room allows your body, kind of like cupping, it gets your blood circulating so that you're able to move your body in ways that you otherwise just can't move in that direction.
Got it.
Cupping is the same idea. What does cupping do? It sucks all your blood to the surface so that your muscles are looser and you can do what you came to do.
Makes sense.
But beyond that, the sweating out of the toxins are incredibly powerful. You come out of there feeling almost invincible
Yeah.
when you sweat out toxins like that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Of course, if you do that, make sure you hydrate because
Yeah.
water is very important.
Yeah.
And hydrating during a hot class is not the right time. As athletes, we all know that.
Yeah.
But no, it's not cheating at all. Actually, you're doing yourself an injustice by not giving yourself the chance to move the way your body is able to move
Yeah.
in a cold room versus a hot room.
Yeah, because you think about it, I would assume if you're sweating that much, those are some intense heat.
Mhm.
So that probably makes it psychologically even harder. So I don't know how that would be cheating.
Yeah, that's the twist of the mind also.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of-
You know, and also it makes your mind even more powerful because you're thinking, oh my god, I'm working so hard. I'm sweating.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
But working hard feels so freaking good.
It does.
Is there
Yeah.
anything more like
No.
right?
It's the best.
You feel like you feel accomplished.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I gotta definitely get back into that because I'm fine with the heat, but I don't know how hot yoga gets. I remember I went, I think it wasn't a sauna, it was a Turkish bath. I think there's a difference. And my friend's trying to talk to me and I'm like, bro, I can't fucking breathe. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. But I want to get over that. I want to get over that mental
It
part.
takes a little getting used to,
Yeah.
but know that our bodies, first of all, our body temperature is 98.7,
Seven.
right?
Something like that.
So if you're doing yoga at 102, it's
Yeah.
really it's not dangerous to us at all. We're 2 degrees higher than we otherwise are. Our bodies, if we allow them to, can acclimate to pretty much
Pretty much
anything. I mean, let me look at our weather pattern back before you guys were born. Our winters really were 20 below.
Oh, yeah.
It was cold.
Right.
I was still outside building a snowman.
Heck yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're a kid.
You're a kid,
You don't think about it.
right?
Yeah.
But your body gets used to it.
Right.
And then, slowly over the 8-month cycle of the sun's orbit, your body slowly acclimates to 100 degrees. And you function just as well.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, essentially with hot yoga, you're combining sauna and yoga,
That's it.
and which both are
Which
absolutely
are
amazing.
both brilliant.
So good for you.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
go do some hot yoga, Adrian.
Yeah, Adrian, don't worry. I mean, who cares? It's cheating. It's not.
It's not cheating.
Have fun.
Not showing up is cheating.
Yeah,
For sure.
I love that. All right, we have 3 questions from the same person. It's in Cheyenne. What's up? First one. What 2 things do you recommend doing daily to maintain a happy life?
Something that makes you happy, for sure. Find some time, and it doesn't have to be an hour. We don't all have an hour. Find 15 minutes every day to do something for yourself. Even if it's by yourself, whether it be reading a philosophical quote that you can relate to, or can't relate to, but would like to relate to. whether it be going for a walk and just listening to the birds chirp. Mother Nature is very soothing, very, very therapeutic. But find some time to do you, to do you.
Yeah.
It's different for everybody.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's powerful.
I think that's a very good recipe to life.
Yeah, you gotta like get out of the whole.
Don't do what other people
Yeah,
expect you to
exactly,
do. Don't do, this freaking labeling theory. It's
Right.
bullshit. I mean, just because you look one way doesn't mean you have to act that same
Yeah,
way.
exactly.
I got ripped jeans on today. It doesn't mean I'm a slob. I just like ripped jeans, and
They sell ripped jeans. Yeah,
I actually paid more for the less
Yeah,
fabric.
sure.
Go figure.
We're gonna leave that, right?
Right? And secondly, I would have to say, and I've used this for myself, and it's therapy to myself. We've found one, do something for yourself. Two, that I find is helpful to me, do something for somebody else.
Love that. Yeah, I like that.
Right?
Feels good.
Old ladies having a hard time now that we have bagless supermarkets getting her stuff into her car.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know?
That's a whole other thing we can go down.
For truth, I mean, we still wrap everything in plastic just to get it into the
Yes.
car to put it.
I was at shop right today. I was in line. I'm like, can we just bring these freaking bags?
Yeah.
Right. I couldn't even
See, I'm so stubborn that I don't bring bags with me, and they're like, "Oh, you want to buy some bags?" And I'm like, "No."
No,
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I have a shitload of bags
Right.
in my garage. I don't think to put them back in the car.
I
when
don't
I'm
know.
done.
No,
I'm lucky I got them put away.
You
Right?
just reminded me. I forgot to do that today.
I'm that person that goes to the
Oh,
supermarket
okay.
thinking I'm here to buy a thing or two, right?
Yeah.
So I don't take a car, I don't take a basket because I'm buying a thing or two. By the end of the
Yeah.
things are flying
Every
out.
time.
Oh god,
I mean, there are times like the other day we were having our event here and I went and I got some stuff and then I remember I need toilet paper for the studio. I mean, those freaking shit. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
And you gotta buy Charmin. It's only toilet paper. It's huge. They sell it like 72 rolls.
Right.
So there was only one way to do it. I kicked it along. I kicked it
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
way because there's no other way to do it.
Too bad someone wasn't there to freaking help you the whole damn time.
No,
There
see,
would be,
somebody,
right?
I
Yeah.
needed
Like a Cheyenne
I
or
needed
something
a
like
Cheyenne
that.
to come do something for me
Exactly.
that day.
Damn it.
I like that.
I still did something for somebody that day, so it's okay.
That's perfect. So you did one of them.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think that's
No expectations.
no expectations, like you said, and serving others. I think. is-
Yeah.
It's just a nice way to be.
Yeah, it is.
And you know what? It makes somebody else feel good.
For
It makes
sure.
you feel good too.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there
Absolutely.
anything more gratifying than
There-
helping somebody?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah. I love
Especially
it.
when you're doing it from the right place.
Yeah.
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 For sure.
Which is a space of not looking for anything in return.
Yeah, exactly. The next question is actually toward Don, but I'm going to put it toward the both of you since you both can answer this.
So,
Don and Zachy, what's the most important skill you realized you needed to run a successful business?
still learning that. I guess I would say being honest with people and being authentic in yourself. Use your personality and just. One of my core values is give with no expectation. I think that's huge for me. Don't expect anything in return, but do it from a genuine place. But yeah, still learning that maybe.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Doesn't always make you the biggest fortune for sure. But for me, that's not really my goal in a yoga studio. My goal is a service of others for sure. My biggest thing about running a business, and we have restaurants, we have printing shops, so this isn't my only business. I happen to run things a little bit differently, which is why I broke off from the franchise. I like to take risks. I come up with ideas, and I don't know that they're gonna work. I didn't know that a piano in the studio would work, but I tried it. It was fabulous.
Yeah.
Not to say that everything is a success story, but I think as a small business owner, opening a small business in New Jersey is a risk in itself. But to be a successful business owner, I think you have to be that kind of person that is able to do a little bit of the unknown, which is take the risk.
As you were saying that, it just popped into my head. I have a really good answer for this. I think would be my answer is start before you're ready and just figure it out as you go.
You're never ready.
Because you're never ready.
Yeah.
Start before you're ready. Figure it out as you go. Because, I mean, that's what everybody does.
Yeah.
You don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Like you've never done this before.
And
Like,
the
you know what I'm
truth
saying?
is, besides your answer, being authentic, honest, and communicating with your clients, things change all the time.
Yeah, you have to adapt.
You have to adapt. Like for me, listen, I've been running businesses since literally since I was a kid. I've been watching my dad. Marketing has changed tremendously. We used to go door to door, knocking on people's doors with a little flyer or a little handwritten note. I'm not that old. I take that back. I didn't do that.
Okay.
Not that old.
Back in the horse and buggy
we
days.
had stamps. We put things in the mail. All right. But we would go to the mailing house and things would get shipped off, and it would be, I mean, right now, man, it's incredible. You push a button, you create a video, and
Reaches 1,000 people.
thousands of people see it, and now all of a
Amazing.
sudden there's this Google and SEOs. I'm like, holy fuck!
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
like guide me, like and it changes all the time.
Absolutely.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to learn and to watch the growth, but if you don't stay on top of that,
Yeah.
next door neighbor got take you right out.
Taking your lunch.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
You always got to be learning and
Absolutely.
improving.
And that's part of the risk, throwing up a video. I have found that on the day that I don't have material to put on even my story,
Right.
things get a little quiet around here,
Interesting.
right?
It's true. And
Things get a little quiet around here.
do you notice consistency with that? Is
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. So I could put anything. I could take a picture of my dog hunting down a duck.
Right.
Something totally and completely irrelevant, and they'll remember, oh wow, let's go to Zachy's studio today because, oh my god, maybe Alice will be there.
Yeah. Staying in the front of everybody's mind at all times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know what's one thing that's cool about this? Everything that you guys just mentioned, and you keep saying the risk.
It's a risk.
It is a risk, but the best thing about it is the antidote to this risk is you, the business owner. You're
The
in control.
face. The
Yeah.
face behind the business.
Literally.
You're absolutely right.
You're
The
it.
face behind the business is key.
Yeah.
Once again, another reason why I broke away from the franchising. It has to have a face. It has to have a personality, and almost always the community will kind of carry over from
Definitely.
your vibe and from your
Definitely.
personality, and that's
Yeah.
why I think this place. I'm honest. I'm authentic. I'm honest. I say it as it is, good, bad, indifferent. Everybody here knows that, but everybody else accepts that, and
Yeah.
they
respect
like
you
that.
for it,
They
yeah.
respect that, and they're the same way.
Sure.
We're humans.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that's the key because you're obviously you didn't reinvent the wheel here with the
No.
yoga studio, right?
True.
There's so many other yoga studios.
That's it.
There's thousands of other car detailing companies, but it's like you said, you have that personality and your own twist on it in that community. So I think that's huge.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So there we are, Shannon. And then you hit us with one more, and then we love it. How can I possibly ever learn all those insane yoga positions when I can barely touch my toes? Well, I'm with you there, Shannon, so I can't wait for this answer.
It's not about the flexibility. So many
Oh,
people
okay.
don't come to yoga because that's their answer. I'm not flexible.
Right.
The truth is, you'll never be flexible unless you come to yoga.
That's true.
Key number one. And the truth is, you don't have to touch your toes while your legs are straight. Bend your legs, and then you'll be able to touch your toes.
That's so hard. That's so fucking hard. Oh my god.
Right?
Throw that excuse out.
Yeah.
And then,
I
you know,
love that.
by
Stop making life hard for
that's
yourself,
it.
right?
You're
Yeah,
allowed.
just fucking
You're
do it.
allowed to bend your knees and touch your toes. How do you tie your shoes? Somehow you get down there. Right? And then over time, over practice, with some perseverance and some dedication, commitment,
Yeah.
You straighten your legs out a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
And
That's the best
I love that.
Holy shit.
You know, you think that, oh, I can't touch my toes, really?
Bend your knees. You'll get there.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's
I
awesome.
love that.
And all the poses are like that.
Yeah.
All the poses. You start from the ground up and you build them, as I said before, it's a practice for a reason.
Mhm.
You build on from, I can't even call them baby steps, because sometimes those baby steps tomorrow are a challenge. Yesterday
Yeah.
they were an ace, they were a master. Tomorrow they might be depending on what you're drinking.
Yeah.
Literally what you're drinking, depending on
Yeah,
what you've
not
smoked
water,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
The physiology.
Yeah.
The physiology changes, absolutely.
And that's okay. We're not asking you to be angels. We're just asking you to get to the yoga studio and do good for yourself.
I
Absolutely.
think the key there is just be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Be
So,
mindful and kind
absolutely.
to yourself and to others.
That's true.
And if you can't be kind to yourself, you're not going to be kind to others, right? So
That's
Yeah,
true.
you
That's
can't help others do the same thing. And then the last question here, and then we got one more afterward, but it's my mom actually. Is there a simple? Hey, yeah, it's up. Is there a simple yoga exercise to help straighten your back and your scoliosis?
It depends on the curvature of the spine.
Okay.
Some degrees of scoliosis are a single curvature. Most are a double.
Okay.
So it really depends. There's a lot. Truthfully, honestly, it begins with the core.
The core. Okay.
So I would suggest to mom to, even when she stands up in an upright position, to engage the glute and the core, which really is what you need to do to protect the back.
Yep. Okay.
Beyond that, we're always habitually, our everyday lifestyle, doing this.
Sure, yeah.
It feels silly.
And for those of you who aren't looking on watching on the video, Zachy was looking at her phone with the head down and almost like a hunchback.
Yeah. It feels silly sometimes, but you have to kind of amplify the open. I call it opening the heart.
Yeah.
Open your heart, because by opening the heart, not only are you lengthening your spine, but you're also letting good stuff in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
True.
Right.
Yeah, it makes you feel good too.
Makes you feel good.
When your chest is
Right?
up.
You could be in the rottenness of moods, and once again, we're human. We're allowed to be in a bad mood. But all of a sudden, you straighten your spine, you open up your shoulders, and you lift your chin a little bit. You tuck your tailbone down. You engage in your core, and you feel like a million bucks. Nobody knows that you're having a bad day.
True.
And you know what? By nobody knowing, chances are you're giving a positive vibe to others, or otherwise it would be a negative vibe.
Yeah,
I think so.
For sure. Are you familiar with Jordan Peterson? Well-renowned psychologist. He's I think a clinical psychologist. He's from Canada originally, but he's well-known around the world. He actually has a book. It's called The 12 Simple Rules of Life, and the first chapter is literally called "Stand Up Straight with Your Back, Shoulders Back."
Fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
That's
yeah.
it.
That's it.
Awesome.
In all aspects of life. Fake it till you
Yes,
make it.
exactly.
And you will make it.
Yep, absolutely.
make it.
Yep. There you are, Mom. Start engaging the glutes and the core. Okay, so here's the last question, and it's actually really good. It's answerable this time, and that's not a
Anthony?
Yes, it's Anthony, and that's not a dish at you, Anthony. You have
Right.
really good questions. Some of them I can't answer. So there's two questions though. The first one's always a fun one. The second one's like the serious one. So, did sand get its name because it's between sea and land? I would say so. I had to think about this one.
I guess.
Did sand get its name? Because I'm gonna have to disagree with him.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm gonna have to say, as a Greek, it's gotta have a Greek root word somewhere.
Yes. No, they say, they say the all the Romance languages are the daughters of Latin and Greek.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah, for sure.
absolutely, and Greek before Latin.
Greek before Latin.
Absolutely,
okay.
because
the Romans were Latin.
correct.
Okay, so yeah.
Now, in Greek, the word for sand is amos.
Amos.
So it's kind of sand without the S. But interestingly, in Italian, amor is love.
Amore, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I would have to say, although it's a cute analogy, that would not be my final answer. On a game show.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's correct.
All right.
And the last question. Oh, this is a tense one, bro. I don't know. Is everything good? Would you kill one person you love to save 100 strangers? Would you kill 100 strangers to save the one you love? Damn, bro. Putting us on the spot. The first one. Would you kill? I'm gonna answer this one. Absolutely, I would not kill one that I love to save 100 strangers. I'm sorry. The second one's a harder one. Would you kill 100 strangers to save the one you love? Because essentially, if you kill the strangers, you're killing people that other people love.
Yeah, that's really tough.
That's hard.
My answer to that would be, no need to kill anybody.
No need to kill anybody, right? Self-sacrifice.
If one's destiny is to go, God bless, rest in peace. That's your lineup. Let it go.
Yeah.
But you can't live with the conscience of killing another human being.
No.
In either situation.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Right.
I don't think I would answer that any differently.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta make it the best. The theme here on the show, on this episode today, is definitely just being
in the
yourself,
present moment.
being your present moment. Yeah, you gotta be present.
By default, we all fell into that same
Definitely.
that same mantra for,
Yeah,
for,
we
the,
did.
for the evening. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, Zach, I just want to thank you for coming on the show. This was an awesome conversation.
Thank you. I agree. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming out. It was a lot of fun.
It
Yeah,
was.
this is fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got this.
And you know, it gets you thinking.
Yeah.
You know, are we being our best selves?
Yeah, sure.
So something to keep on the back of the mind.
Yeah.
For sure.
Always.
So guys, this is Yoga Odyssey, 8 West Main Street, Somerville, New Jersey. So come check this place out. Really, really awesome place, and you know you'll be welcomed with open arms. I know
For
that.
sure, always.
Are you open Monday through Friday?
Open 7 days a week.
7 days a week, so no excuses.
Nope, I do not rest so that
Beautiful.
everybody else remains happy.
Awesome. Anything else you want to final words for the show?
No, it's been an absolute pleasure, an honor, especially a high school friend's son, which is amazing, reunited after a short period of time.
Yes.
Right? But no, it's been wonderful.
Awesome.
I hope to
Awesome.
have you guys back here.
Definitely, for sure. And we're just looking forward to getting your message out there and spreading positivity in this world. So
Be happy, be safe.
love it.
Be happy, be safe.
Be happy, be safe. You heard it here. What's up?
What about you, Joe?
No, nothing. This was
All right.
incredible. I loved it. I loved everything about it, and actually, it bears a lot of resemblance to what I'm doing in my life right now with regards to the meditation I'm doing and the manifestation that I'm about to bring in. So I like it. I feel like this is perfect.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. I had a blast listening to your story.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. Thanks for
Bye
listening.
guys, thank you.
We'll see you later.
See ya.
Listen, we'll take from here. Chilling down. All right. Good job.
Good? Did I do good?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was freaking.